This is not Bob Staunton, genius broadcaster and throat-clearing phlegm spitter. Are you intelligent? If not, then subscribe and like the Tommy Boyds Shrine YouTube channel. Introducing Cowboy Builders. Nothing worse than a builder's hairy fat bum crack. Makes me feel sick seeing those after they wolf whistle me in the street.
A line in the newspaper. This man is the biggest cowboy in broadcasting. They kept it from me because they thought I would be diminished to be thus described. On the contrary, nobody could have paid a higher compliment. Cowboys. Cowboys are our heroes. Cowboys built America. A cowboy inventor discovered radio. A cowboy inventor discovered television. A cowboy psychologist discovered psychiatry. Good Lord. Yes, good Lord, our Lord was a cowboy prophet, for goodness sake. Didn't have the tools for the job, wasn't properly trained, didn't have any qualifications. But look at what they built and look at what they achieved. No. It's a great credential to be called a cowboy anything. And if you're thinking of having any work done around the house or outside the house, or thinking of having that wall repointed, or getting somebody in to have a look at those 2 tiles which came down when it was very windy back in October, don't go to a professional. You don't need a professional. There's no such thing as a professional. When it comes to building, what you want is a cowboy builder. They might not be quite as good as a professional, but they're a heck of a lot cheaper. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Professionals, professional builders, professional anythings. Anybody who calls themselves a professional merely builds up layer after layer of mystique about themselves, about their trade, about what they do. They talk in mumbo-jumbo about NVQs and city and guilds. Have you got the badge? You know, I work in football coaching, and everybody's going on about the badge. Have you got the badge? No, I haven't got the badge. Ooh, you haven't got the badge? Well, you can go over there and look after the no-hopers. You know? But Alf Ramsey didn't have the badge. Bobby Charlton hasn't got the badge. Pele hasn't got the badge. Therefore, what are these guys? I'll tell you what they are. They're cowboys. Cowboys. Did you have the Cowboys in to do that extension? Did the Cowboys come and insulate your loft? And didn't they do just as good a job? Weren't you wise choosing the Cowboys over the so-called professionals? Because they did the job, didn't they? And you paid them cash and it worked out an awful lot cheaper. And you were left with just as good a job and just as watertight a warranty as if you'd got in the guys with the mobile phones strapped to their belts, the professionals. No. Free call 0500 10 53 89. In praise of Cowboy Builders. They might not be quite as good as the professionals, but they're a heck of a lot cheaper. You couldn't afford to have that extension built by the professionals. You won't live long enough to have an extension built by the professionals. The Cowboys, and where do you find the Cowboys? I'll explain in just a moment. They will be in and they will be out. They will clear away the pile of sand that's left over. They will charge you a reasonable amount for cash, and then you'll never see them again for dust. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Where to find cowboy builders? Where to find cowboy electricians? Plumbers? Chippies? You know a bloke. Or someone you know knows a bloke. It's what brothers are for. Brothers will be able to put you in touch with cowboy anythings. And the bloke down the pub who you don't talk to very often, just occasionally, because he tends to go on about certain things, he will put you in touch with cowboys. They don't advertise. They don't need to. They depend on the most reliable form of advertising in the world. Ask anybody in advertising. Ask anybody in the media. Ask anybody in retail. What is the most valuable form of advertising, full stop? Answer, word of mouth. And all cowboys advertise using only one medium. They don't use Yellow Pages. They don't put postcards up in the newsagents. They don't need to. They depend on word of mouth. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Let's redefine our terms. What is a cowboy? A cowboy is a multi-skilled entrepreneur offering affordable alternatives. There. There, that makes you feel better, doesn't it, about choosing somebody you can afford, a multi-skilled entrepreneur offering affordable alternatives. And what is a professional? What is a professional? A professional anything, a professional builder, is a self-important bureaucratic fusspot who takes ages, spends every tea break showing you photos of other people's cavity walls, charges the earth plus VAT. And does he sign a guarantee? Does he write out a warranty? He does not. Does he come back and inspect 12 weeks later? He does not. Do you ask to see their certificates? You do not. Would you get to see them if you asked? You would not. You don't get a guarantee. You don't get a warranty. So what's the difference? The difference is you pay about 2/3 as much on top. Now, free call 0500 10 53 89. Join me on an adventure. Enjoy once again the salty taste of the pioneer spirit in your gums. That's what it is when you hire a cowboy. You're flying 3 sheets to the wind, aren't you? You're beating the system. What more glorious spirit is there? What more wonderful feeling is there? What more exhilarating sensation can there be than beating the bureaucratic system? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Listen, Cowboys built America. Has it fallen down yet? On the contrary. I rest my case. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. Celebrating Cowboys, Cowboy Builders in particular. Keith calls from West Sussex. You're on Talk Radio, Keith.
Hello, Tommy.
Keith.
I've never heard such a load of rubbish come out in your mouth in all my life, talking about Cowboy Builders.
Okay, all right. Roll your sleeves up. Let's have the argument.
Have you ever had a cowboy builder working for you?
Of course.
You have?
Fantastic.
And they were better than a professional?
I didn't say that.
But they were cheaper?
I did say that.
You did. So cowboy builders are always cheaper than professional builders, are they?
In my experience, yes.
In your experience?
Yes.
So you'll tar all the other builders with the same sort of brush, will you?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
What a pathetic excuse for an argument you've got there.
You're not going to ring me up and tell me that cowboy builders are more expensive than the so-called professionals.
They quite often are.
No, they're
right?
not. No, they're not.
Yes,
no,
they are.
No,
You've obviously never had any experience of it, so how can you say they are?
Well, Keith, you're going to have to tell us something that we didn't know, and it needs to be a concrete example. We need evidence. Otherwise, we're just making it up because you're sore.
I'm not sore at all, no. I spent 13 years as a professional heating and plumbing engineer, having gone through all the courses necessary, only to be up against cowboy builders.
So you're just jealous, really, aren't you?
I'm not jealous, no, because I actually retired from the business because I didn't really like it that much.
Right. Well, somebody's got to do it, haven't they?
They have, yes,
right.
And the best of luck to all of them that do.
Well, we can't get you professionals anymore because you're now what? Taxi driving or something?
No, nothing of the sort, no. I run a retail kitchen and bathroom showroom.
Right. So you're still in the business?
In a way, yes.
Were you trained to run a retail kitchen and bathroom shop?
Sorry?
Were you trained to run a...
Yes, I was, yes.
Oh, were you? What are your qualifications then?
I did a kitchen design course at a large kitchen manufacturer.
Yes, where's the certificate? Is it up on the wall?
No, I haven't bothered putting it in the wall.
No, why not?
Because I just moved house and it's somewhere at home and I've only just taken the showroom over.
Yeah, but you're a bit of a cowboy retailer, aren't you?
No, I don't think so,
Yes,
no.
you are, yes, you are.
You know, you should know best. You've been here and you know what I do.
Well, you are a bit of a cowboy retailer.
How do you work that one out,
Because you're a trained plumber. You can't be both.
Why not? You're a trained TV presenter.
No, I'm not.
You're now
No, I'm not. God's sake, man. I'm a cowboy broadcaster. We all are.
Are you?
Yes.
So you didn't do any qualifications to get onto Magpie then?
Well, do you know, funnily enough, Keith, no. Funnily enough, no. I'll tell you what, I had mumps that week. I missed that course.
Yeah, I think you must have done by the state of presenting, yeah.
Yeah, Keith Boyce came down. No, not Keith Boyce, he's a cricketer.
Max Boyce.
Keith Fordyce came down and he told us which camera to look at and how to read auto. Yeah, Keith, come on, we're all cowboys.
Are we?
Winston Churchill was a cowboy prime minister.
I wouldn't know, I never met him.
Humour your strong point, Keith?
Yeah, some people say so.
Are you a qualified conversationalist?
Definitely not, no.
No, definitely not, definitely not.
Are you?
No.
No.
No. No, but which of us sounds like the professional?
Well, you think you do, obviously.
I'm asking the question, I'm asking the question.
I don't think either of us do, actually.
Yes. Do you want to rest?
No, I'm fine, I'll carry on.
Well, say something then. You know, you're sitting there saying nothing.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard anything to substantiate your argument so far, to be honest.
I did 5 minutes before you came on, and you haven't addressed any of those points.
What, the fact you'd had a Cowboy builder and it was cheaper?
That wasn't a point I made.
That's what you said to start with.
It was a point you made.
No, it was a point that you made on the radio. That's why I came on to talk about it.
Yeah. You're not up to this, really, are you, Keith? I should stay a cowboy retailer, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't tell anybody. Where's your shop?
East Grinstead.
East Grinstead.
Do you want a list of my customer references?
No, there's a Cowboy bathroom and kitchen retailer in East Grinstead. Go along, because he's bound to be good, because he's a cowboy.
He's cheap as well.
Exactly. You're cheap, aren't you?
Cheap and professional.
Well, we don't worry about the professional bit. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Honestly. Frankie calls from Essex. You're on Talk Radio. Frankie, good afternoon.
Yeah, hi. I've got a legitimate builder.
Yeah?
And they were crap.
No good.
Absolutely pony.
Pony.
They did a little roof repair job over the toilet.
Yeah.
And, well, the bit of felt they put on there was 2 inches short on the whole diameter of the roof.
There.
Yeah, no lip over, nothing. And they were absolutely... I'm still battling with them.
Yeah, I bet you are.
They've done it again.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see, like, another downpour and see what happens there. Tommy, about the Cowboy Builders, of course they can't advertise. They're all claiming dole, aren't they?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I say fair enough. I mean, I know it's illegal, but...
No, it's everyone to their own, I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as you do, I suppose.
I guess.
But, let me tell you.
Yeah?
How are you going to track these cowboys down if you get a rough job as well?
OK, here's the argument there, Frankie.
Go on.
You can track your professionals down, can't you?
Of course.
And get nowhere.
Well, at least you can track them down.
And get nowhere.
Well, it's been sorted out.
It won't be.
It will be.
You know it won't be.
Anything lie.
You're
Italian, Tommy, and I don't let anything lie.
Hey, Frankie.
Not aggressiveness.
Hey.
I'm not talking about aggressiveness. I'm talking about...
I'm Italian.
Talking to them nice. In a nice manner.
Yes, of course, Frankie.
I've spoken to the guy today.
Yes.
And he's promised me he's going to be up Monday.
Yeah.
Up for the job. The governor's going to come round himself. He's sent his guys round.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be sorted.
That's how we deal with it in this country, Frankie.
Well, let me tell you, Tommy.
Yes.
I mean, I've got the upper hand because they only done it to me.
Oh, you've got the upper hand, haven't you? Because you haven't paid.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No.
What do you got to say about that, then?
Well, of course, you couldn't do that with a cowboy, could you?
Why not?
Exactly.
Of course you could.
So you'd still be in possession of what you call the upper hand.
Yeah, but these cowboys...
The only difference is you'd owe a cowboy a lot less for doing a lousy job.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, than you owe a professional for doing a lousy job.
Exactly.
So, you know,
but these cowboys, they'll drive you to the building society and wait till you get your money out.
I'm not interested in anecdotes.
No, I know you're not.
I'm not interested in hearsay. I'm not interested in stories that men swap in the pub. Frankie, hard facts. This is a news and current affairs debate forum.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, out of it, Chip.
Nice talking to you.
Yo.
Adios.
Brian calls now from Stockton-on-Tees. You're on Talk Radio, Brian.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello, Brian.
You're dead right.
Thank you.
You know, I became one of these cowboys, right? I started my own firm up, and I knew nothing about building, etc., and I became a property repairs manager. And all I did, when I had to do the job, I just got a book out of the library and read up on it, and I went and did it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to advertise. People were ringing me up and saying, you know, so-and-so's recommended you. And I had jobs left, right and centre.
Oh, yeah.
And it was perfect.
Yeah. That's what everybody does.
It is. It's so simple. You just get a book and you read up on it, right? I had to build a wall, I'd get a book, I'd read up on it and go and do it the next day. I had to hang a door, I'd read up on it, I had to put window frames in, etc. And it was simple.
Man, that is what everybody does. You know, if you're an airline pilot, right, and you work for the world's favourite or wherever, and they say to you, Bob, can you take a jumbo to Bangkok tomorrow? You know the airport, don't you? What does Bob say?
Piece of cake.
He says, yeah.
Yeah.
He does it.
He does it.
And
That's right.
He does it.
This is what it's all about.
Isn't it?
But as I say, I was charging, a low price, lowest price, like, compared to these professionals, which charge way over the odds. They're absolutely ridiculous. They come, you say, you've got a couple of tiles loose on the roof, £100. £100 for 10 minutes work?
Yeah.
It was pathetic, so I thought, hey, I can do this.
Well, what a lot of people are hoodwinked into hoping, Brian, is that if you pay through the nose, then you've got some comeback.
And they think they're getting the job done properly, and they're not.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, they're not going to climb up on the rope and look at it, are they?
No. What is the guarantee?
But when I did the job and I came down, I knew that job was done properly, and I knew that person would recommend me to someone else, and they did, and it was simple.
It's like when you go for a job and you need 5 GCSEs. You really hope that actually the person who's employing you will look beyond the pieces of paper and look at the person.
That's right.
And I think when you're hiring... Yeah. If you're hiring somebody to build a wall... Yeah. You've got to look at the person.
And they just need to ask you a few questions,
Exactly.
How do you build the wall? How do you mix the mortar? What's it consist of? And you can just tell them, and they're quite happy, and they do the job. And that's it.
You're a wise man, Brian.
I certainly am.
I hope you flourish in industry.
I did. No problem. Because I knew it's simple. It's so simple.
Common sense.
Like most things, get a book, read up on it, and do it.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. We are celebrating Cowboys. When you think about it, just about all the great moments in the history of the free world we owe to cowboy operations. I'm being kind. I am lauding the defence of the realm in 1940 when I say that it was effectively a cowboy operation because nobody had been trained to fight the Luftwaffe in our skies. Nobody had been trained to man the barricades along the south coast of Britain. We didn't have the tools for the job, and we didn't have a prime minister who'd ever fought in combat. We didn't have a warrior king. It was a cowboy operation, but it was a superb operation. And we owe the fact that you're able to listen to these words and they're not being spoken in a German accent to one of the great cowboy operations of all time. The Battle of Britain. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Across the UK, this is Talk Radio.
I'm just going to leapfrog the queue with Dave, who calls from Dorset, with just a quickie here. Dave, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon. Hello, Dave. Dave.
Yes, sorry.
Quick.
All right, yeah. I was just going to say,
Get on with it.
like, your cowboy presenting on Magpie was pretty damn good, I thought. Like,
Yeah, but what was your point? What was your point?
Sorry?
What was your point?
Well, you're on about cowboys. I was going to say, like, Harold Riley and that. He was a artist. Well, he still is an artist, as far as I know. Like, he was trained by Larry, one of the greatest cowboy artists of all time, like.
You make a powerful point. A long time ago, there was a children's television programme, and you were on it, and the artist was a man called Harold Riley.
That's right. He was the judge of the competition, like.
He was a great artist. He was a cowboy artist.
And he was trained by Larry, who was another cowboy artist.
All artists are cowboys. You can't train artists.
Yeah, and they're the greatest people in the world, like, artists.
Do you know that Harold Riley, a great artist, was also Manchester United's reserve centre-forward?
I did not know.
Now you do.
Yeah, right.
And all footballers are cowboys as well, aren't they? Because you can't train a footballer.
Anybody who's any good at anything is a cowboy, because if they get trained the regular way, like, they forget to look around them and see for anything better, like, you know?
And you're not going to end up with a certificate saying, I am a qualified professional footballer. Again, MVQ in football, no. Free call 0500 10 53 89. In a sense, the more glorious the trade, the less likely it is that anybody is going to be qualified to do it. Juliet calls from Leighton Buzzard. You're on Talk Radio, Juliet. Good afternoon.
Hi, Tommy. I think you're bloody marvellous.
You're kind.
Tommy.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm well, you?
Good, I'm fine. I've just been listening to what you've been saying about Cowboy Builders, and I completely agree with you.
Thank you. What's your experience?
Well, I've just bought a house not long ago, and we've had to do quite a lot of work to it because it was a repossession. And it's great. I get them round, they negotiate the deal, and then I say, how much for cash?
Yes.
And it just starts the negotiation process on, and I just love it because I've got things. I've saved hundreds of pounds.
Of course you have.
Just by getting people from word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of tradesmen, so I've been recommending them as well and saving everybody else money.
Absolutely. And you know, when somebody's doing a job in your house, you just keep an eye on what they're doing.
Well, I don't have a problem. They come when they say they're coming. They do the job.
But you hover.
Sorry?
You hover.
Yeah.
You hover when they're working.
Yeah.
And you say to them, what's that you're doing there?
Yeah.
And they'll tell you. And then you'll know. And then you'll know they're doing it right.
Sorry?
You'll know they're doing it right.
Yeah, that's it. So I think they're brilliant. So I don't look for all these registered things because they charge you the earth.
I've never met anybody who asked a builder for his NVQ or his City and Guilds.
No, that's it, exactly.
I've never ever asked a retailer for his qualifications to sell me a pound of grapes? You don't, do you?
No, you don't.
Are you a cowboy? What are you? You're a cowboy what?
Oh, I'm a salesperson.
Well, you're a cowboy salesperson, aren't you?
Well, I suppose so.
Well, you are, aren't you?
Well, I like to think I'm qualified, but I haven't got any exams to show anyone.
Listen, upend your thinking. You are a cowboy salesperson. Isn't that more glorious?
Yeah, I think it is.
Isn't it?
No one asked to see any qualifications.
Every civilization has its equivalent of the cowboy. In Japan, they have the samurai. What a noble calling that was.
Yeah.
The samurai were basically cowboy warriors.
That's it, that's true.
Yeah. Julia, thank you for your call. No, it's a glorious thing to be a cowboy, anything. A cowboy broadcaster. How glorious. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Come one cowboy, come all. Stephen calls from London. You're on Talk Radio. Stephen, good afternoon.
Yes, been some fine examples of cowboys, Tommy, but have you ever been had over by a rustler?
Not with you. Carry on.
Well, rustlers look like cowboys, and they ride cows and, push cattle around and herd them and all that, and ramrod and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, they take away your cattle. So if you get a quote from a cowboy, it might look cheap up front, might end up not so cheap at the end. There again, I mean, the sort of figure of the cowboy, the free spirit, free-ranging persona is a very valid one. In fact, your name was born, it comes from a line of film cowboy, wasn't it? William Boyd. Do you remember him? Hopalong Cassidy. You must remember him, Tommy. That's it, he's the one. Gabby Hayes was there. And we was riding the trail, going down, and you can even get Scott into this one on the Chisholm Trail. Remember the Chisholm Trail, Tommy? Back in the old days, in the 90s, in the times before the sunset on the spurs.
Fantastic. I wouldn't have minded being a cowboy.
But what about the rustlers, Tommy?
Have you ever been a cowboy anything, Stephen?
I think I am all the time.
What? A cowboy what?
Well, whatever you do, whenever you get up in the morning, you've got to have that freedom of spirit to go out and do what you got to do.
The high street is your prairie.
Whatever you say. But the thing is, what about the rustlers? Do you know the guy before Gates, before Bill Gates, the biggest computer top guy? I won't mention the name, I won't mention the company, but I read the book about how he got started. Him and his sidekick used to go out, this is about First World War time, just pre-First World War, and they used to make imitations of the established cash registers that were an established company, and then they'd make 40 versions of them and go out and sell them as the proper company, and then come back a few months later with their own cash register and say, how's your model going? And the guy go, it's damn useless. And he'd say, well, fair comment.
Brilliant. Isn't that brilliant?
That's a cowboy.
Did you ever see that film, The Tin Men?
That's a rustler.
Did you ever see that film, The Tin Men?
Yeah, remind me of it.
Oh, it's about the men who sold aluminium cladding for houses in the United States. If you haven't seen it, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play the harmonica just now?
Yes, I did, yes.
That was your own personal one?
Yes, it is.
Are you good on the Jews harp as well?
No.
What do you think of William Boyd? Very underrated?
Yes, very underrated.
Long forgotten?
Not by you.
Square-jawed hero? Gabby Hayes?
Gabby Hayes, possibly.
Jesse James, would he be a cowboy?
I think that's probably beyond dispute if we're thinking of the same Jesse James.
But he was also a bandit, wasn't he?
A bandit?
Yeah, Jesse James. He was a cowboy by...
No, I think you're thinking of somebody else. Jesse James was a sheriff.
Well, wait a minute. What about the James gang?
Well, that was him and his posse who went after the bad guys.
Was it? Who was the bad guy they went after?
It was Wyatt Earp, wasn't it?
So you're saying good's bad and bad's good. What about Wild Boo Hickok? Billy the Kid?
Yeah, what about them? Yeah.
Well, I mean, were they killers and robbers? Or were they cowboys?
Could be.
So this is really the whole sort of panoply of the Old West that we've got coming to our high street. All these different characters are there, Tommy.
Wouldn't say panoply.
What is it then? But I mean,
panorama. If it's got to begin with those letters.
They are there though, aren't they? The whole range of the Western characters, which
they're all there. They're all there.
Good, bad, and ugly.
Evil, good, bad, and evil.
For a few cents more.
Fistful of dollars.
So what about the rustlers and the bad guys, Tommy? Do they exist, or are they just a myth?
a bit of this and a bit of that. Who knows?
Well, I'd like to think, you've got to look at people who come up to your door and say, we'll do something for less than anyone else. You think, well, it's cheap at the front, but what's it going to be like at the back?
Wise words, Stephen.
Okay, mate.
Lovely.
Take care now.
I've got it all down here.
I'm riding off. Click, clock, click, clock.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Paul calls from Leeds. You're on Talk Radio. Paul, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy. I was a cowboy builder for 6 years and made reasonable living at it. Got all my work through recommendation. And as far as I can say, I always did a good job, really.
Of course you did.
I rewired houses and shops.
Yeah.
I used to get the YEB to go and check it out afterwards and give you a certificate, which cost, I think it was £55 at the time. They never found fault in my work. Done plumbing, built a sauna, built conservatories. Never had an unhappy customer. I was always there if anything went wrong, because you always make mistakes. You can make mistakes.
But I bet you bumped into plenty of so-called professionals who didn't waste any time tearing a strip off you.
Well, I did, especially electricians, and I'd say, well, I've been to do work after these supposed qualified electricians have been, and it's not as good as I do, so how could they say that I didn't do as good a job as them, And they said, oh, you're stealing work off me, and this, that, and the other. And I say, well, you should do a decent job then, shouldn't you?
Yeah, we had a lecky round, and just out of interest, I asked him, I wasn't checking up, I just asked him out of interest, how does a transformer work? How does it reduce thousands of volts to 240 volts? And this was his reply. That's very difficult to explain. So I didn't pursue it because I knew what he was saying. I don't know. But he was a pro.
Well, I can tell you.
Yeah, and you're a cowboy.
Yeah.
You're a cowboy. What do you do now?
I work for Leeds City Council now, which, if I hadn't have done the work as I did as a cowboy builder, I wouldn't have got a job with the council.
What are you doing with the council?
I'm a caretaker in multi-storey blocks of flats.
Now, that's a fantastic job, but who trains and offers qualifications to caretakers? Nobody.
No, they don't.
So you're a cowboy caretaker?
They want you to have qualifications. Well, they don't want you to have qualifications. They want you to have experience when you go for a job.
Yeah.
And well, supposing I wanted to be an electrician.
Yeah.
And you need to go with a company that's going to put you through the training and things like that. And they want you to have experience to start with, which obviously you can't get unless you get on with a company. But you can get experience by working for yourself. And then you can go for a better job like I did and sort of say, well, I used to work for landlords and all this lot. And go, oh, great, I used to work for landlords, yeah. So by being a cowboy builder, working for landlords and such, I ended up working for the council. So now I'm a cowboy caretaker.
Well, power to you. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Good to talk.
Bye.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Because when you hire professionals, okay, you may think to yourself that they know the better how to do the job well, but you see, they may also know the better how to appear to do the job well. Free call 0500 10 53 89. David calls from South Yorkshire. You're on Talk Radio. David.
Hi, Tommy. How are you?
I'm well. Yourself?
Yeah, the cash no VAT men. They're the scourge of society. And I think you're talking out of your bottom. Tommy?
Yes?
Are you there?
Yeah, it's a nice slogan, but I tend to do a bit more than that. The cash no VAT men are the backbone of society.
No, they're not, Tommy.
Yeah.
If there was if they were legal and they paid the VAT, it would make things a lot better.
It's all very
How many of these cowboy builders have insurance, Tommy? One thing I'd like to ask you: your children are playing round your house.
No, we don't do that.
All right then. Why don't we do that?
No, because that's a cowboy argument.
No, it isn't a cowboy argument.
It's a cowboy argument to say,
Tommy.
It's a cowboy argument. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's a cowboy argument to say, how would you like it if your children were lying wounded?
Yeah, and the cowboy builders, turns out he's not insured.
You go boil your head if that's the best argument you can come up with.
Oh, Tommy, I like it. You can't stand a little bit of criticism.
No, I can't.
One other question, Tommy,
I can't stand people like you who ask people to conjure up images of their children in pain. You're sick. You're sick.
I'm a rip. Tommy, one other question then before you cut me off, because I'm sick, which I'm not.
Well, you are sick. Well, what do you do go around encouraging people to harbour images like that in their mind for then?
Right, and you're encouraging the cowboy builder, the man who pays no tax and no VAT.
Doesn't hurt you.
Do it,
doesn't hurt you.
Yes, it does, Tommy.
How?
It makes the basic level of tax that little bit higher.
No, it doesn't.
Of course it does.
No, it doesn't.
The avoidance of tax.
How much?
I don't know, Tommy. I can't. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax specialist.
You can't know. You can't not know the numbers, but know that it equates.
Tommy, come on. At the end of the day, if legitimate.
I'm dancing on the bonnet of your V6 here, pal. I'm dancing on the bonnet of your V6. You're all right.
All right, Tommy. Obviously, you're not rational, and I can't argue with you.
Just because you can afford to have an extension built. What about the little old ladies who can't afford to have their tiles
what
done?
about little old lady who gets the cowboy builder in and he doesn't put enough cement in the sand and the extension falls down?
I'm afraid you think that life is like that's life, don't you? Well, it's not, mate. I'm sorry, mate, but if you get all your information from Anne Robinson and Esther Ranson, that's your lookout.
No, that's not quite the truth.
Yeah, it is.
Tommy.
It
isn't.
is.
You know as well as I do that there's a higher percentage of rogue and cowboy and cowboys. It sums it up perfectly. That's what they are, cowboys.
You know as well as I do lives in the same house as it's a well-known fact.
So, sorry, repeat yourself again, sorry.
The phrase, you know as well as I do, lives in the same house as it's a well-known fact.
Yes, it does, to a degree. I don't disagree with you.
Well, tidy the argument up then, and tidy your presentation of it up a little bit, will you?
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's have a few facts.
Right, Tommy, okay.
Anything would do. Anything substantial would do. Anything non-bog standard would at least lift the conversation.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, I'm going at that point, because I don't need to be insulted by somebody of your character. One other question before I go.
Somebody of my character.
Oh, Tommy, will you let me finish?
I'm away licking my wounds.
Did you confront your wife yesterday? Thank you.
Anything else you wanted to say?
No, nothing. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Free call 0500 1053 89. In praise of Cowboy Builders. Okay, they're not perfect, but nor are professionals. It's just that cowboys are a darn sight cheaper. And you feel more of a man if you hire a cowboy. More of a maverick. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Take a journey. Free call 0500 1053 89.
I know it's a cliche. I don't use cliches, but it's a good cliche. Remember, the Titanic was built by professionals. The Ark was built by a cowboy. Yeah. Marmaduke calls from Derby. You're on Talk Radio, Marmaduke. Good afternoon.
I had the world's greatest cowboy builder.
Go on.
Well, it's back to 2 years ago when we had the gales, Tommy.
Yep.
And I got up in the morning and there was 2 ridge tiles missing on the roof. So I got on the phone to the local builder and he was absolutely up to his eyeballs. So I got the yellow pages out, and in actual fact, I got a chappie to come and give us a quote. And before I went to work, he arrived with he just got a van. He got nothing, no identification, whether he was a plumber, a technician or what. And he says, I can soon put you them back, because they'd come off the roof and landed on the front lawn. So I says, how much are you going to charge me? So he said, I'll charge you for 50 quid. So I said, OK, get the job done. And I had to go off to work because I've got my own little business. And when I came back at dinner time, the whole of the roof was off. He took the whole of the roof off. So I said to him, because they were still there in the van having the dinner, cup of tea. I says, what the bloody hell have you done? He says to me, you've got a squirrel's nest in the roof. I said, I know I've got a squirrel's nest in the roof because I've collected it from the tree down in the garden, you brat. So he said, well, we thought we'd better do it. So anyway, it started to rain. And by the time they managed to get some tarpaulin sheeting, which we tried to hire at £40 a day, everybody in the area had hired them. So I had to buy one at £350. It was 9 o'clock at night before we got the tarpaulin on the roof. And again that night we had some more strong winds. It blew the tarpaulin sheet off and the rain brought the ceiling down, excuse me, in the bedroom. The water went into the back of the telly and the telly caught fire. And then we had to phone the fire brigade. They came, and it brought the ceiling down into the lounge, all the water all over the carpets, which were wool, and they all shrunk. So a £50 quote to put 2 ridge tiles back on the house ended up costing us £7,200, Tommy. And if that's not a cowboy, I don't know one.
I'll tell you what. You tell the story that well, mate, that I had to laugh. I hope you don't mind. It was probably a long time ago, was it?
Well, it was 2 years ago, Tommy.
Are you laughing?
2 years ago, and we're only just recovering from the fracas.
And you're laughing about it now?
Well, Tommy, you've got to laugh about it, because these 2 chaps, if they'd have come on a couple of horses and had 6 shooters, they would have won the rodeo in Calgary.
I'll play it in C, all right? And you sing. Do you know the words to Shenandoah?
No, I don't, Tommy. No, I'm not a very good singer. That's wonderful, but I'm not very good singing. It sounds remarkably good.
Oh, thank you.
I can blow a drum. I'm not bad at blowing a drum, Tommy.
Marmaduke, it gave a lift to the proceedings. I'm grateful for your story.
Absolutely. Well, just let me tell you before you go. Well, obviously, it wasn't insured.
No.
And we tried to contact him again. He was on a phone at no fixed address. And we had real fun, and I'm not even, I can't remember what we had to pay the solicitor for sorting the job out. So for 2 ridge tiles, it must have costed over £8,000.
Well, Marmaduke, I'm glad that you told us such a colourful story, and you told it well, and I'm so glad that your sense of humour hasn't deserted you.
It's not at all. Were you on the radio, Tommy? Nobody could have a sense of humour disappear. You're a great guy. And I listen to you virtually every day, mate.
Good lad.
Along with that, what's his name? The guy that used to be on the Sky News.
That's the one.
Can't think of his name. What was it? Scott Chisholm.
That's the boy.
Scott Chisholm. Hell of a bloke he is. Yes, he's a fantastic fella, he is.
Thank you, Marmaduke.
Okay, mate.
Okay.
All the best, and I'll be listening to you.
Till the next time.
Bye now.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. We'll play Talk Radio's registration rollover shortly and continue and wind up our eulogy in celebration of Britain's Cowboy Builders. Number again is free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. Yourself?
I'm doing very well. I'm just phoned up because I'm a visual consultant, but actually I'm a cowboy artist.
Of course you are.
It's the way it is. I finished college about 2 years ago, and at college everyone's teaching you, and you think, oh, these guys are professionals. They're teachers. They know what they're talking about. I left college, and I tried and tried and tried to do what they told me to do to get a job as a graphic designer, and I couldn't do it. And I ended up taking a courier job because I needed to pay some bills. And I met this guy just on the street, basically, who said to me, I talked about me and my desires to get into film, and he said, call my sister, she's in films. I called her, she called me back, and the long and short of it is that I managed to get work on a feature film, and it was great, and we were all visual consultants. And when they ask you to do something, you just don't say, oh, it'll take this amount of time, I'll have to use this trendy typeface, blue is good, but I'd like to do it in red. You just say, yes, I'll do it.
Yes, of course you do.
Yes, I'll do it.
I'll do that.
No problem, I'll do it.
They say, are you able to work in this medium? You say, yes, I can do that.
Yes, I can do it.
Yes, of course you can. Yes.
Have you, can you do a sign for the front of the bank?
Yes, I can,
with dots between the B, the A, the N, and the K, and it's in 5 minutes. Yes, I can do it.
I can do that.
And then you don't say anything else.
No.
But at college, they told you that you have to explain everything.
Yeah. As if they know.
As if they know.
We all know, don't we, that people who can do and people who can't teach. So what are we doing expecting that people who can't should be able to train people to do things they won't be able to because they can't do it themselves?
That is something that I wish I'd known at college.
Exactly.
No, they won't teach you that at college. They won't put that at the end of the they give you a lovely lecture, lots of slides and colours, and at the end of it, they won't put the little thing, oh, by the way, all I've said doesn't matter a thing.
Doesn't matter a thing.
All it matters is if you want to do it.
Yeah. What was the movie?
The movie? Oh, it hasn't come out yet. I'm working on one at the moment, which is a short film, much more enjoyable because it's a small bunch of people working together, very tight. All of us cowboys. We're in the meeting. Production meeting goes like this. Director says, okay, Colin, I want some storyboards by tomorrow. I'll do it.
I'll do that, okay. Yes, of course you do.
Fine, no problem. And then somebody else talks to, and there's college. It would have been a lovely conversation. It would have stretched out into the student bar. Would have come back in again afterwards, and it would have gone for hours. And the same thing with graphic designers.
Yeah,
You see them all in the bars.
Is anybody qualified in the world of art or the media generally? I mean, was Walt Disney qualified? No, he was a cowboy.
No,
were the Beatles qualified?
No, don't think
Cowboys.
so. Walt Disney probably got a flip book in a packet of cornflakes one morning, flicked it, and thought, "Hang on,
now I'm an artist.
I've got an idea. I'm an artist. I'll call myself." I mean, I've only called myself a visual consultant because they haven't actually been able to work out what they're going to call me on this film I'm working on. Because I'm doing all these little things. Because they asked me, I'll do it. Because it's good for me because I don't know for sure in what capacity I'll end up working.
Colin, it's been a delight talking to you. Just one last thing though. See if you can pull this one off. Can you clear off now?
What time is it? Is it nearly 4 o'clock?
No. You go. Yeah, I can do that.
No, go where?
Can you clear off now?
I can go whenever you want, Tommy.
Yeah, no, it's good. You hear what I'm saying? Nearly. Thank you. Free call 0500 10 53. Always worth a try. It's a great thing about radio. Take chances, run scared. If it doesn't work, doesn't matter. Just carry on. Glyn calls from Essex. You're on Talk Radio, Glyn.
Hello, Tommy. Great to talk to you.
Sir?
I had an extension built using Cowboys mostly, and the roof was put on by a professional who I pulled out of the yellow pages offering 10 years guarantee, and I had nothing but a total nightmare with my roof. The excuses he came up with for why it was leaking, you just wouldn't believe. I've had walls re-rendered, repainted.
Avril calls from Reading. You're on Talk Radio, Avril.
Hi, Tommy. Great story this. Yesterday, somebody we know had a driveway built, and usual thing, a few months went past, and a lovely lawn started coming up through it. When they rang the said cowboy, he said to them, they said, "Oh, you know, with this drive you put down, there's weeds coming up and everything." He said, "Well, buy a rabbit." I think that's fantastic. What wonderful after sales. You see, you wouldn't get that from a professional, would you?
No, you wouldn't. And you got a story.
It's great. We heard it last night, and I thought, I've got to tell you, it's so funny.
People perk up at dinner parties and stuff, not that I go to them, when somebody says, "You'll never guess what happened to us, we got some Cowboys in." Nobody turns their, puts down their glass of wine and go, "Hang on a second, I want to listen to the story about what happened when I got the professionals in."
Yeah, that's right.
You've got
I
a
just
story.
thought, what a great tale.
It's a great tale. Thank you for that.
Okay, bye.
So, it's unanimous. We owe society, civilization, and our very freedom to the men we label cowboys. Their courage, inventiveness, and brass-necked pioneering spirit of adventure built the very world we live in. So, let them build you an extension. Like America, it will stand forever.
Across the UK on 1053 and 1089.
This is definitely not Bob putting a funny voice on. Click like and subscribe to the Tommy Boyd Shrine YouTube channel, and we may get more Bob Staunton. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am going to stick laxatives in Tommy Boyd's coffee. If he won't call it quits, I'll make him strain with the squits.